Behind the shining lights and glamorous images, Hollywood has long been a place where scandal and dark secrets often hide in plain sight. Rumors about actors who might be involved in evil or questionable activities have circulated for decades, fueling curiosity and suspicion. Some stories speak of manipulative behavior or dangerous associations that went unnoticed or covered up. Others suggest connections to criminal operations or personal tragedies kept hidden by fame and wealth. These stories refuse to fade, growing more intricate as new details emerge, blending fact with speculation. Witnesses and insiders sometimes stumble upon strange behaviors or unexplained events that spark further rumors. Despite the attempts to dismiss or suppress such tales, they continue to grow, weaving an unsettling tapestry of Hollywood's hidden darkness. As we delve into these stories, we focus solely on uncovering the truth behind the most persistent and chilling rumors that have haunted the film industry for years. Immediately after becoming one of MGM's most popular stars, Wallace Beery was admired for his rugged but charming on-screen persona. Audiences loved his tough characters that often had a soft spot, making him a favorite of many movie fans. However, behind the scenes, Beery's life was marked by controversy and darker stories. In 1937, comedian Ted Healy, who was known for creating the famous comedy group The Three Stooges, died suddenly after what was described as a violent fight outside a nightclub. Witnesses and insiders claimed that Beery, along with two powerful MGM executives, had taken part in the confrontation. Many believe that what happened next shows how Hollywood often protected its stars and studio interests. Instead of facing punishment or questions, Beery was quickly sent on a long trip to Europe, and the investigation into Healy's death faded away. No official charges or punishment were given, but questions still remain. People wondered why a healthy man like Healy would suddenly die from an illness called acute nephritis. They also wondered why the main people involved, including Beery, were never thoroughly questioned or held accountable. The official story tried to clear everyone, but many believed the truth was hidden to protect Hollywood's reputation. Over time, the shadow of this scandal darkened Beery's legacy, reminding everyone that Hollywood sometimes went to great lengths to keep secrets and shield its stars from consequences. The story of Wallace Beery's connection to the tragedy and the cover-up remains a haunting part of Hollywood history that still sparks debate today. John Barrymore, once celebrated as one of America's finest Shakespearean actors, was the shining star of the famous Barrymore family. His talent on stage was undeniable, especially in his powerful portrayals of Hamlet and Richard III. He had a way of captivating audiences, and his performances made him a household name. During the 1920s and 1930s, Barrymore successfully moved from the stage to silent films and early sound movies, becoming a popular matinee idol. People admired not just his acting, but also his charm and presence. However, behind his success, Barrymore struggled with a serious problem: chronic alcoholism. His drinking was so heavy that it affected his ability to work. There were many times when he would arrive on set drunk or forget his lines, which made it difficult for directors to work with him. Sometimes they had to shoot scenes without him or find other solutions. Friends and colleagues watched as his health and career declined, feeling helpless as he became more of a tragic figure. His downfall was well known, and after his death in 1942, a strange rumor spread that friends had taken his body to stage a final prank by propping him up. This myth, although unlikely true, showed how his story had become part of Hollywood's dark legend. His life story reminds us how fame, addiction, and excess can destroy even the most talented entertainers. Barrymore's career and life serve as a powerful lesson about the dangers that can come with success and the toll that addiction can take on a person's life. Despite being best known as the Man of Steel in the 1950s television series Adventures of Superman, George Reeves's life was full of dark secrets that many people still talk about today. While millions of children looked up to him as a hero on TV, his off-screen life became a story filled with confusion and questions. In 1959, Reeves was found dead from a gunshot wound to the head at his home in Benedict Canyon. The authorities declared his death a suicide, but evidence from the investigation raised doubts. No fingerprints were found on the gun, which made many wonder if he could have pulled the trigger himself, or if someone else did. At the time, several people were in the house, and their stories about what happened kept changing, adding to the mystery. Reeves was involved romantically with Toni Mannix, the wife of a powerful MGM executive, which led to many rumors. Some believed Reeves was murdered out of jealousy or to protect the reputation of wealthy and influential people. Others thought Reeves was depressed because his acting career was not taking off as he had hoped. The inconsistencies in the evidence, the shifting accounts of witnesses, and suspicious behavior from those associated with the case fueled conspiracy theories. Some said he was silenced to hide something bigger, while others insisted he was overwhelmed by personal struggles. His death remains one of Hollywood's most puzzling mysteries, turning a man who brought joy and strength to so many into a figure surrounded by intrigue, suspicion, and tragedy. The story of George Reeves continues to inspire questions, theories, and debates, keeping his memory alive in the world of Hollywood secrets. Louis B. Mayer was known as the king of the studio system. He played a major part in making Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer the most powerful studio in Hollywood's golden age. Mayer managed a large group of famous stars, including Clark Gable, Greta Garbo, and Judy Garland. He controlled many parts of their careers, and even their personal lives with strict rules. Mayer liked to appear as a caring father figure, often calling MGM a family and himself its leader. However, behind this public image, he ruled with fear and manipulation. He used harsh contracts that told actors what roles they could take and who they could date, giving him total control over their lives. He had the power to make stars or ruin them instantly. For many years, rumors of sexual harassment followed Mayer. Judy Garland, one of his most famous stars, accused him of inappropriate behavior when she was still very young. Mayer also helped hide bad stories about deaths, scandals, and abuse linked to the studio, trying to keep its reputation safe. Some people believe Mayer helped improve movies and make them a true art form, but many others see him as a symbol of Hollywood's darkest times. They remember him as a man whose empire was built on silence, fear, and the suffering of others. Despite her small stature, Lupe Velez was a towering presence in early Hollywood. She was known for her vibrant personality, bold spirit, and refusal to follow traditional Hollywood standards. Her nickname, the Mexican Spitfire, captured her fiery energy and comedic talent. She often appeared in roles that highlighted her lively nature and charm, becoming one of the most memorable actresses of her time. However, her relationships with famous men like Gary Cooper and Johnny Weissmuller drew much media attention, sometimes overshadowing her acting skill. As her career waned in the early 1940s, she faced increasing societal pressure to conform to a more traditional image of femininity and domestic life. This added to her personal struggles, which culminated in her tragic death in 1944. She was pregnant and unmarried when she was found dead from a drug overdose, and while her death was officially ruled a suicide, the media sensationalized the story. An urban legend falsely claimed she died in a grotesque way on the toilet, a myth that became more famous than her artistic legacy. This false story not only tarnished her reputation, but also demonstrated how Hollywood and its press often humiliated women who did not fit their ideals. In reality, Velez was a pioneering woman who challenged stereotypes and broke barriers for women of color in the entertainment industry. Her life and death reflect the intense scrutiny and prejudice she faced, making her story one that continues to resonate. Despite living in a time when women in Hollywood were expected to be modest and obedient, Tallulah Bankhead boldly defied those norms with her flamboyant personality and fearless attitude. Known for her raspy voice and sharp wit, she was a star of both film and theater, making a name for herself on Broadway and in movies. Her performances in films like Lifeboat and The Little Foxes showcased her talent and unique presence, but her personal life often overshadowed her acting achievements. Open about her bisexuality at a time when such honesty could ruin a career, she openly joked, "My father warned me about men and booze, but he never mentioned women and cocaine," revealing her candid attitude. She mingled with mobsters, politicians, and Hollywood elites, often found at lively parties rather than just on set. Her refusal to conform and her playful rebellion made her a cult figure, but also a risk for studios unsure of how to handle her unrestrained honesty. As she grew older, her roles became fewer, and her wild lifestyle affected her health, yet she refused to compromise her identity. Tallulah Bankhead passed away in 1968, leaving a legacy of rebellious brilliance that challenged Hollywood's strict standards for women and inspired future generations. Certainly, Roscoe "Fatty" Arbuckle was one of the first true superstars in Hollywood, and known as a brilliant comic in silent films. He earned millions of dollars and helped start the careers of other famous actors like Buster Keaton. His talent made him very popular and respected in the early days of the film industry. However, his life changed dramatically in 1921 when he was accused of a serious crime. He was charged with raping and causing the death of actress Virginia Rappe during a party at the St. Francis Hotel in San Francisco. The news spread quickly and became a huge media frenzy. The press covered the story relentlessly, turning public opinion very negative against Arbuckle. Despite facing 3 tough trials, he was eventually found not guilty, and his third jury even issued a formal apology to him. But even after his acquittal, the damage was done. The film studios and theaters no longer supported him. They distanced themselves, and his movies were boycotted. The public turned away from him completely, and he was blacklisted from the film industry he helped build. During his years in obscurity, he continued to work in Hollywood secretly, sometimes directing films with a false name. In 1933, at only 46 years old, he died shortly after trying to make a small comeback. The scandal about his alleged crime remains one of the most famous in Hollywood history. It is remembered not only for his innocence, but also for how the press and public rushed to judgment without knowing all the facts, showing how sensational stories can ruin lives. Arbuckle's story reminds many of the dangers of media bias and the importance of justice. Although Charlie Chaplin is primarily known for his iconic soundtracks, often composed to complement his silent films and enhance the emotional impact, his influence extends beyond his music. His groundbreaking work in cinema, particularly with movies like City Lights and Modern Times, revolutionized comedy and silent film. These films are celebrated for their perfect blend of humor and social commentary, underpinned by Chaplin's careful musical scores that brought his silent images to life. The soundtracks he created were simple yet powerful, often using light melodies to underline moments of humor or pathos. Yet, behind his artistic achievements lie many personal controversies that have overshadowed his public image. His romantic relationships, especially with women significantly younger than him, and some underage, caused widespread moral outrage and media backlash at the time. This scandal was compounded by a paternity case involving actress Joan Barry, where despite DNA evidence disproving Chaplin's paternity, he was legally declared the father because scientific methods were limited then. Adding to his troubles, Chaplin's outspoken political beliefs and criticism of American capitalism drew the attention of the FBI, who designated him as a subversive and kept him under surveillance. Consequently, in 1952, while traveling to Europe, the U.S. revoked his visa, forcing him into exile in Switzerland. During his exile, Chaplin continued to work and even returned to the U.S. only once, in 1972, to accept an honorary Oscar. His cinematic legacy remains unchallenged, but his personal life and political stance have left a complicated legacy that continues to intrigue many. The soundtrack work he did for his films echoes his genius, yet it is forever intertwined with the tumult of his private life and the controversies that shadowed his career. While some say Robert Mitchum was Hollywood's ultimate rebel, he was known for his rugged looks and cool attitude that made him stand out on and off screen. His deep voice and calm, indifferent manner suited roles in movies like Out of the Past and The Night of the Hunter, where he became a symbol of film noir. On screen, he often played tough, mysterious characters, but his personal life was filled with trouble. In 1948, he was arrested during a marijuana raid, a scandal that could have ruined his career. However, instead of ending his rise, the incident helped build his image as a rebellious outsider. The film studio used the story to help him bounce back, and he continued to draw crowds and increase his popularity. Off-screen, Mitchum was known for heavy drinking, womanizing, and sometimes acting violently on set. These behaviors reflected a masculinity that Hollywood admired, one that challenged rules and celebrated danger and defiance. Despite all this, Mitchum kept a long, successful career, perhaps because his flaws matched the very roles he played. His story shows how Hollywood often chooses to punish or praise its stars, and how charisma and attitude can outweigh mistakes. Mitchum's legacy is a mix of fame, rebellion, and myth, illustrating how Hollywood's view of talent can sometimes overlook a person's darker side. Despite being best known for his dazzling performances as a hero in films like Captain Blood and The Adventures of Robin Hood, Errol Flynn's life off-screen was filled with scandal and chaos. He was known for his charming personality and physical daring that made him a favorite among audiences, but behind the scenes, he led a life of excess. Flynn's reputation as a womanizer became notorious, and in 1942, he faced a highly publicized trial charged with statutory rape involving 2 underage girls. Although he was eventually acquitted, the scandal damaged his reputation and added a dark stain to his fame. As he aged, Flynn's love for drinking, drug use, and risky adventures grew worse, and his personal and financial life became increasingly unstable. His wild lifestyle took a toll on his health, and by the time he died in 1959, a coroner's report described him as physically worn, with the body of a much older man. Despite all the legal troubles and reckless behavior, Flynn is still remembered as a key figure of classic Hollywood, celebrated for his charismatic presence and legendary movie roles. His life story remains a reminder of how fame and a hedonistic lifestyle can lead to self-destruction, even for those who seem larger than life on screen. Despite being celebrated as one of the greatest actors in stage and screen history, Laurence Olivier's life was filled with complexity and darker elements. Known for his legendary performances in productions like Hamlet, Richard III, and Wuthering Heights, Olivier's talent made him a revered figure in the world of theater and film. However, behind the curtain, his personal life often revealed a different story. He was known for his emotional distance and a tendency to manipulate others, traits that contrasted sharply with his public image of passion and dedication. His relationship with Vivien Leigh, who was also a renowned actress, was intense and tumultuous. It was marked by deep affection, but also by cruelty and misunderstandings. As Leigh's mental health declined, Olivier's behavior reflected a lack of support, as he often chose his career over helping her through difficult times. During their marriage, Olivier had numerous affairs, which showed a pattern of seeking gratification outside his relationship. He was also known to exert control over young actresses, sometimes crossing boundaries between mentorship and exploitation, hinting at a darker side of the entertainment industry's power struggle. Though he was never accused of illegal actions, his conduct exposed the darker aspects of fame and influence. As Olivier aged, his reputation remained intact, yet conversations about his legacy considered both his artistic brilliance and the emotional toll his actions may have caused others. His story demonstrates that even those admired for their talent can have flaws, and that greatness sometimes comes with personal sacrifice and moral questions. Ramon Novarro was a dazzling figure during the silent film era, particularly known for his role in the 1925 classic Ben-Hur, A Tale of the Christ. With his striking good looks and undeniable talent, he quickly became a sensation in Hollywood. As a Mexican-American actor, Novarro was a trailblazer in an industry where racial and ethnic boundaries were rigid. His rise to fame was fueled by his smoldering presence on screen and his sincere performances that resonated with audiences. However, beneath the glitz and glamour of his career, Novarro harbored a deep fear. His homosexuality, which was something he kept hidden, posed a constant threat to his career. In an era when Hollywood was unforgiving towards those who did not fit the mold of idealized, heteronormative masculinity, Novarro's private life was a closely guarded secret. He never publicly acknowledged his sexuality, choosing instead to live a life of caution and discretion, aware that any revelation could end his career and ruin his reputation. As the industry shifted with the advent of sound in films, and younger actors rose to prominence, Novarro's star began to dim. He eventually retreated from the spotlight, living a more reclusive life away from the public eye. This quiet existence came to a tragic and violent end in 1968. Two brothers, who had been hired under the guise of being male escorts, broke into Novarro's home with the belief that he was hiding a fortune. They brutally tortured and murdered him, leaving the nation horrified by the crime. The media soon began to invade every aspect of Novarro's personal life, revealing his secretive nature and his sexuality in a manner that lacked respect for his dignity. His death marked one of the darkest moments in Hollywood history, reminding the public of the price of fame, the violation of privacy, and the oppressive pressures faced by stars of the era who were forced to live in secrecy. The circumstances surrounding his death remain a chilling reminder of how the entertainment industry shaped, and at times destroyed, the lives of its brightest stars. Certainly, Marlon Brando revolutionized acting with his raw, emotionally charged performances in classics like On the Waterfront, A Streetcar Named Desire, and The Godfather. He introduced a naturalistic style that redefined cinematic acting, bringing a new level of realism to the screen. His performances showed genuine emotion, making characters feel real and relatable, which changed how actors approached their craft forever. Yet despite his artistic achievements, Brando's personal life was filled with turmoil. He fathered at least 11 children with multiple women, and experienced a turbulent family surrounded by scandal and chaos. His son, Christian Brando, was convicted of manslaughter in 1990 and his daughter, Cheyenne, died by suicide in 1995, events that deeply affected him and led to periods of withdrawal from public life. Brando became infamous for his rebellious act at the 1973 Oscar ceremony when he rejected his award for The Godfather and sent activist Sachin Littlefeather to decline it on his behalf, in protest of Hollywood's portrayal of Native Americans. Some viewed this as brave and necessary, while others saw it as theatrical and attention-seeking. Despite his wealth and fame, Brando chose a modest lifestyle later in life, often haunted by feelings of guilt and personal tragedy. When he died in 2004, his legacy as one of the greatest actors was secure, even though his life was marked by controversy and storms that often overshadowed his brilliance. Despite once being regarded as a visionary filmmaker, Roman Polanski's reputation was forever altered by a scandal that overshadowed his artistic achievements. He gained fame with movies like Chinatown and Rosemary's Baby, which showcased his talent for creating suspenseful and captivating stories that drew audiences worldwide. His work earned him admiration from critics and fans, and he became one of the most respected directors in Hollywood. However, everything changed in 1977 when he was accused of sexually assaulting a 13-year-old girl named Samantha Gamer. Polanski agreed to a plea deal, but before he could be sentenced, he fled the United States, fearing a long prison sentence. Even as a fugitive, he continued making movies and gained international success, winning the Academy Award for Best Director in 2003 for The Pianist. His victory sparked controversy and divided opinions, with some praising his artistic talent and others condemning his actions. Many believe that his continued recognition revealed a troubling double standard in Hollywood, where fame could sometimes protect individuals from justice. Geimer eventually forgave Polanski publicly, wanting to find closure and move past the pain. Still, the case remains a stark example of how celebrity culture can sometimes hide or excuse serious misconduct, raising ethical questions about separating art from personal morality. Despite her stunning rise to fame, Clara Bowles' life was filled with hardship and struggles that overshadowed her achievements. Born into poverty, she faced difficult circumstances early on, which left deep scars and contributed to her later mental health issues. She broke into Hollywood and quickly became known as the IT girl, a symbol of the lively spirit of the 1920s. Her energetic performances in silent films like It and Wings made her a beloved star and the most bankable actress of her time. Her charismatic personality and natural beauty made her the perfect image of the carefree, daring flapper. However, her rapid fame brought intense scrutiny. When sound films started, critics unfairly attacked her Brooklyn accent and working-class background, claiming she was not suitable for talkies. During her career, she was also the target of numerous false accusations spread by rivals and scandal-mongering tabloids. They accused her of promiscuity, drug abuse, and even bizarre crimes like bestiality, none of which could be proven, and were only meant to ruin her reputation. These vicious rumors caused her immense emotional pain and damaged her career further. In the end, Hollywood turned away from her, not because she lacked talent, but because she no longer conformed to the industry's strict standards. She was pushed out of the limelight and isolated from the world, choosing to live in seclusion for the rest of her life. She rarely spoke to the press and struggled quietly with her mental health. Her story serves as a sad reminder of how fragile fame can be and how harshly women who challenge societal norms are treated in the entertainment industry. Despite her remarkable beauty and talent that brought her international fame, Vivien Leigh's life was complex and filled with hidden struggles. She is best remembered for her iconic roles as Scarlett O'Hara in Gone with the Wind, a performance that captivated audiences worldwide, and as Blanche Dubois in A Streetcar Named Desire, which earned her her second Oscar. Her acting brought her fame and admiration, but behind the scenes, her personal life was marked by emotional instability and suffering. Leigh was diagnosed with what was later understood to be bipolar disorder, a condition that caused her to experience extreme mood swings, periods of paranoia, and terrifying moments of mania. At a time when mental illness was poorly understood and often stigmatized, her symptoms were frequently dismissed or hidden by those around her. Her relationship with Laurence Olivier, a highly respected actor in England, was once considered a shining example of Hollywood's golden couple. However, as Leigh's mental health worsened, their love story turned sour, becoming strained and toxic. Olivier, once supportive, grew impatient and distant, struggling to cope with her condition. Leigh was hospitalized several times, but these facts were kept secret by studios who wanted to protect her image and career. Tragically, she died in 1967 at the age of 53, largely isolated from the world that had once celebrated her. Her life is both a story of extraordinary talent and tragic pain, demonstrating the immense pressures women in Hollywood face to appear flawless while silently enduring deep emotional turmoil. Her story remains a powerful reminder of the hidden struggles behind fame and beauty. At the peak of her career, Ingrid Bergman was a beloved actress known for her stunning performances in films like Casablanca and Gaslight. She captivated audiences around the world with her beauty and acting skills. However, her life took a dramatic turn in 1949 when she became the center of an enormous scandal that tarnished her reputation for years. While still married to her first husband, Bergman began a passionate relationship with Italian director Roberto Rossellini. The affair was not only professional but also personal, as she soon became pregnant with his child out of wedlock. The resulting scandal exploded in the media, causing a national uproar in the United States. The news reached the U.S. Senate, where one senator condemned her as a powerful influence for evil. The public's harsh judgment led to her exile from Hollywood, a place that had once embraced her with open arms. For a time, Bergman was shunned by American audiences and the film industry. Hollywood turned its back on the actress who had once been a major star, but this period of exclusion didn't mark the end of her career. Instead, it opened a new chapter. Bergman moved to Europe, where she worked closely with Rossellini in Italian cinema, contributing to films that would redefine her image. It was during this time that she found artistic freedom, working in an environment where her personal life was less scrutinized. However, the stigma surrounding her affair and the birth of her child never fully disappeared. In 1956, Bergman made a triumphant return to Hollywood, winning an Academy Award for her performance in Anastasia. Despite this career resurrection, the shadow of the scandal continued to follow her. Her story revealed how women in Hollywood were held to different standards than their male counterparts, especially when it came to love, motherhood, and independence. Bergman's experience exposed the double standards that shaped Hollywood's treatment of women who defied traditional norms. Though she regained her career and her reputation to some extent, the moral outrage she faced served as a harsh reminder of the fragile nature of fame and the consequences of breaking societal taboos. While her childhood was filled with early success, Judy Garland's rise to fame came with a heavy price. Discovered when she was very young, she captured the hearts of many as Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz, leaving a lasting mark through her beautiful singing and the vulnerability she conveyed on screen. However, behind the scenes, her life was marked by suffering and mistreatment. The MGM studios treated her harshly, trying to keep her looking young and thin. To do this, they gave her a dangerous mix of drugs, starting with amphetamines to stay awake and suppress her appetite, and then sleeping pills to help her rest. This reckless use of medication caused her to become dependent on drugs and alcohol over many years. She also faced constant body shaming and psychological abuse, with many producers telling her she was not attractive enough to be a leading lady. Louis B. Mayer, the studio head, was said to have harassed her physically and emotionally, adding to her suffering from her early years. Her personal life was filled with difficult relationships and emotional struggles. Despite her incredible talent, she was often paid unfairly and exploited by those around her. Tragically, in 1969, at the age of 47, Judy Garland died from a barbiturate overdose. By that time, she was deeply in debt, exhausted from years of emotional pain, and had given everything she had to her fans. Even now, she is remembered both as a symbol of the magic of Hollywood and a reminder of its cruelty, a performer who endured great hardship to bring happiness to millions. So, despite being one of Hollywood's most respected actors with 2 Academy Awards for his powerful and understated performances in films like Guess Who's Coming to Dinner and Captain Courageous, Spencer Tracy's life was filled with inner struggles and emotional pain. He was a deeply devout Catholic who refused to divorce his wife, Louise Treadwell, despite their long separation. This moral dilemma caused him great internal conflict, and it also meant that Katharine Hepburn, the iconic actress and his lifelong companion, had to keep a quiet and hidden role in his life for over 25 years. His personal battles went beyond his religious guilt, as he fought chronic alcoholism that often affected his work. His drinking led to mood swings and on-set problems, but colleagues and directors tolerated these issues because of his extraordinary talent. As he aged, health problems like diabetes and heart disease worsened, making his final years difficult. Lieutenant Hepburn cared for him during his last days, seeing him become frail. He passed away just days after finishing filming Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, which turned out to be his last performance. Although he is remembered for his remarkable artistry, Tracy's story also reflects the deep pain he carried and the emotional toll of trying to balance his personal beliefs with the demands and pressures of fame. Gig Young was a charismatic and talented actor who gained widespread recognition for his 1969 Academy Award-winning performance in They Shoot Horses, Don't They? This victory seemed to signal the start of a promising new era in his career. However, it was instead the beginning of a tragic and rapid decline. Behind his polished screen presence and charm lay a man struggling with crippling alcoholism and severe mental health issues. These personal battles quickly began to affect his career as well as his relationships. His troubles were evident when he was cast in Mel Brooks' Blazing Saddles. Despite his impressive resume, Young was fired on the first day of filming due to his erratic behavior and instability. The pressure of living up to his public persona, coupled with the weight of addiction and depression, proved too much for him to handle. As his personal demons deepened, his professional opportunities diminished, marking a dramatic fall from grace. In 1978, just 3 weeks after marrying his fifth wife, Kim Schmidt, Young's life ended in an unimaginable tragedy. He committed a murder-suicide, shooting his wife before turning the gun on himself. There was no suicide note, and the shocking nature of the crime left Hollywood reeling. His tragic end became a sobering reminder of how fame and success cannot shield someone from the overwhelming effects of untreated mental illness and addiction. Gig Young's story serves as a haunting lesson about the destructive power of internal struggles, even when everything on the outside appears to be perfect. Howard Hughes was a dazzling enigma, part aviation pioneer, part Hollywood mogul, and part tragic recluse. With boundless ambition, he directed and produced big-budget films like Hell's Angels, and dated some of the most famous women of the era, including Ava Gardner, Katharine Hepburn, and Jean Harlow. But as the years went by, his brilliance became eclipsed by an obsessive need for control and a rapid mental decline. He notoriously monitored the lives of his ex-lovers, hiring private investigators to tail them, and exercised obsessive micromanagement over actresses' appearances, sometimes dictating every aspect of their public image. His perfectionism turned into paranoia, and his once glamorous life became one of extreme isolation. Hughes shut himself away in darkened hotel rooms, refusing to cut his nails or hair, and communicated with staff through written notes due to his fear of germs. Despite revolutionary contributions to aviation and business, including the founding of Hughes Aircraft and innovations in flight engineering, he died a broken man in 1976, an unrecognizable figure from his former self. Hughes remains a haunting symbol of how genius, when unchecked and unbalanced, can collapse into madness. Despite her shining talent and stunning beauty, Lana Turner's life was filled with turmoil and controversy. She was one of MGM's brightest stars and graced many classic films, including The Postman Always Rings Twice, which showcased her sultry presence. However, her personal life often overshadowed her career. Her relationship with Johnny Stompanato, a violent man connected to mobster Mickey Cohen, was tumultuous and attracted widespread attention. The relationship was marked by constant tension and fear, and it became a major public spectacle. The situation reached a tragic turning point in 1958 when their daughter, Cheryl Crane, who was only 14 years old, stabbed Stompanato to death in their Beverly Hills home. The death was officially considered justifiable homicide, as Cheryl acted in self-defense to protect her mother from Stompanato's violence. Despite this ruling, rumors and questions persisted for decades, some suggesting that Lana Turner might have been involved in a cover-up or used her daughter as a shield to avoid scandal and prosecution. The media seized on the case, framing Turner as either a victim of domestic violence or a manipulative woman hiding behind her daughter. This incident cast a long shadow over her career and reputation, creating a complex image of a woman caught between fame and personal tragedy. As her life continued, Turner remained in the public eye, but the specter of that night and the subsequent allegations haunted her. Her story reflected how fame can bring not only admiration but also intense scrutiny and suffering, especially when personal trauma becomes part of the public spectacle. Turner's life was a testament to the dangerous intersection of Hollywood glamour, domestic violence, and media frenzy, where the truth was often lost amid sensationalism. Despite her short life, Jean Harlow left a lasting mark on Hollywood as one of its first true sex symbols. Known as the blonde bombshell, she had striking platinum blonde hair and a magnetic presence that made everyone pay attention when she appeared on screen. Many remember her for movies like Hell's Angels and Red Dust, which showcased her talent and beauty. However, beneath the glamorous image was a life filled with tragedy and unresolved questions. In 1932, her life changed forever when her husband, MGM producer Paul Byrne, was found dead just 2 months after their wedding. The studio quickly announced it was a suicide, pointing to a mysterious note Byrne left, yet rumors circulated that his death might have been more violent, or even staged to cover up something bigger. The scandal was hushed by Hollywood's powerful publicity machine. Meanwhile, Harlow continued to act and shine in movies, but her health was declining rapidly. In 1937, at only 26 years old, she died from kidney failure, but the exact cause was never publicly revealed. Some thought she might have been poisoned or that her illness went untreated because studios often prioritize productions over health. Her sudden and untimely death, combined with the lingering mystery surrounding her husband's death, sparked decades of speculation about her life and the dark side of Hollywood. Jean Harlow's story is a tragic reminder of how fleeting fame can be, and how behind the bright lights, the truth can sometimes get lost in the shadows. After gaining fame in the 1930s for his distinctive gravelly voice and commanding screen presence, Lionel Stander became a well-known actor in Hollywood, earning praise for his many standout roles. However, his career dramatically changed during the time of the Red Scare when suspicion and fear of communist influence ran high in America. During this period, the government held hearings through the House Un-American Activities Committee to root out supposed communist subversives in the entertainment industry. When called before the committee, Stander refused to cooperate and made it clear he believed the hearings were unjust and unconstitutional. His outspoken stance made headlines across the country, but it also turned him into a target of Hollywood's blacklist. This blacklist was a way for studios to punish anyone suspected of having communist ties, even if they had not done anything wrong. As a result, Stander's career in America was effectively ended, and he was denied work in films and television. For years, he struggled to find new opportunities, facing financial difficulties and professional rejection. Eventually, he moved to Europe, where he found more acceptance and rebuilt his career by appearing in international films. Later, he returned to the United States and found work again, most notably playing a major role in the popular TV series Heart to Heart in the 1980s. His story shows how political fears and hysteria can ruin lives overnight, destroying careers and reputations with little cause. Despite standing firm for his principles and refusing to betray his beliefs, Stander paid a high price for his integrity. His resilience in the face of adversity is notable, but his experience also serves as a stark reminder of how dangerous it can be when fear dominates reason. Stander's life reflects both the strength of individual conviction and the harsh realities of political persecution during a dark chapter in Hollywood history. After achieving rapid fame in Hollywood during the 1950s, Barbara Payton seemed destined for greatness. Her striking looks and natural talent caught the attention of many powerful filmmakers, and she quickly gained leading roles opposite famous actors like Gary Cooper and James Cagney. However, her promising career was overshadowed by chaos and scandal that would define her life both on and off the screen. Payton's involvement in a violent love triangle created a media frenzy. The triangle involved her, actor Franchot Tone, and former boxer Tom Neal. Neal's rage led to a brutal attack on Tone, who was seriously injured and required plastic surgery. This incident made headlines and tarnished Payton's reputation, forcing Hollywood studios to distance themselves from her. As her career faded away, she was blacklisted and struggled to find work. With no income and no support, Payton's life spiraled downward. She turned to alcohol and drugs to cope with her pain and despair. Desperation pushed her into minor modeling jobs, but those too dried up over time. Eventually, she resorted to prostitution in a bid to survive. Despite publishing her raw and honest autobiography called I Am Not Ashamed, her health declined sharply. Her final years were marked by extreme poverty, living in grungy motels, and suffering from health issues worsened by alcohol and substance abuse. She died in 1967 at only 39 years old from heart and liver failure, a tragic end to a life filled with promise. Barbara Payton's story highlights the harsh reality that even beauty and fame cannot shield someone from personal downfall and disillusionment, illustrating how Hollywood can quickly discard its stars when scandal takes over. Her life remains a powerful reminder of the fleeting nature of fame and the dark side of the entertainment industry. Following her rise to fame as one of Hollywood's most recognized actresses, Joan Crawford was celebrated for her powerful stage presence and her ability to immerse herself in demanding roles. Over her career, she earned an Academy Award for her performance in Mildred Pierce, a film that showcased her strength and resilience as a woman facing life struggles. Her shining career helped craft a persona of sophistication and independence, often portraying women who fought through adversity and emerged victorious. Despite her glamorous image, there was always a sense of intensity in her work and her personality. However, her reputation suffered a significant blow in 1978 when her adopted daughter, Christina Crawford, published a memoir titled Mommy Dearest. In the book, Christina described Joan as a cruel and abusive mother, recounting stories of physical beatings, emotional torment, and obsessive control over her children's lives. The most famous episode from the book was the scene where Christina yelled, "No wire hangers?" and claimed Joan would relentlessly punish her with harsh discipline. This revelation shocked the public and divided fans and critics alike. Some defended Joan, claiming the memoir was exaggerated or driven by personal revenge, while others believed the harrowing details showed a darker side to her life. The scandal damaged her legacy and forever linked her name to accusations of maternal cruelty, overshadowing her achievements in Hollywood. While she was recognized as a trailblazer in film and a woman of strength on screen, her life outside the movies revealed a complex and troubled story. Her legacy is now seen as a mixture of admiration for her talent and cautionary tales about the hidden toll of fame. Her life remains a reflection of the costs that come with chasing greatness and the dark secrets that can lie behind a glamorous facade. But despite his popularity and good looks, Tyrone Power faced many struggles that were hidden from the public eye. During the time he was active in Hollywood, being open about one's sexuality could mean losing everything, so he kept his true self hidden behind a charming smile on screen. Rumors circulated that he had relationships with both men and women, but the studio worked hard to keep this information from reaching the fans and the media. These rumors made it difficult for Power to be fully honest about who he was, and the pressure to maintain his romantic image created a heavy burden. Behind closed doors, Power suffered emotionally because he could not live openly and was forced to hide his feelings and true identity. This constantly weighed on him, adding stress to an already demanding career. Power's life was cut short at only 44 years old when he collapsed on a film set in Spain and died of a heart attack. It was a tragic ending that seemed to echo the fate of his father, who had also died while working. Although the official report blamed heart failure, some believe that the stress from living a double life and the pressure of hiding his true self may have contributed to his early death. Today, his legacy remains complex. He was a beloved matinee idol who brought joy to millions, yet he carried a secret that he could never fully reveal. His life story highlights the difficult choices many faced in a strict and unforgiving Hollywood. Despite being one of the most popular actors of the late 1920s, William Haines was known not only for his natural charm and personality, but also for his courage to stand for who he truly was. He starred in films like Brown of Harvard and Show People, and gained fame for his boy-next-door appeal that endeared him to many fans. However, Haines made a decision that many actors at the time would have been afraid to face. He refused to hide his true self, and openly lived with his partner, Jimmy Shields. This was a time when Hollywood expected actors to maintain a public image that often did not reflect their personal lives. When pressure arose from MGM, the studio that employed him, he was told to enter a fake marriage to cover his relationship. Louis B. Mayer, the studio boss, gave Haines an ultimatum: end the relationship or lose his career. Choosing love and honesty, he refused to compromise his integrity. As a result, Haines was fired and blacklisted, losing the fame and success he had. Lieutenant, instead of fading away, he transitioned into a new career as an interior designer, developing a successful business that served many of the stars and studios that once cast him aside. His partnership with Shields lasted over 50 years, a testament to their deep and enduring bond during a time when such relationships were kept secret and shunned. William Haines' life story is a powerful story of rebellion against societal expectations and unwavering authenticity. He sacrificed fame to stay true to himself and found a different kind of legacy through love and perseverance. Throughout his life, Haines demonstrated that true courage is standing up for one's beliefs, even at great personal cost. In conclusion, the world of Hollywood, with its glamour and fame, often masks a darker reality. Behind the bright lights, the whispers and rumors about some of its most famous actors paint a chilling picture. Over the years, stories of manipulation, criminal connections, and tragic secrets have surfaced, casting a shadow over their careers and legacies. While many of these rumors remain unproven, their persistence suggests there may be some truth lurking beneath the surface. The complexity of these tales is fueled by insiders, witnesses, and the strange behaviors that sometimes break through the carefully curated public personas. Even as Hollywood tries to sweep these allegations under the rug, they continue to intrigue and disturb. As new stories emerge, the question remains how much of the dark side of Hollywood will ever truly be revealed.